Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm good. Early morning here in Prague, where I'm based right now. Very rainy and thunder morning. So we have a perfect time to do this today.
Michael, I promise you next time you will be in Dubai and it will be a beautiful weather.
Yeah, the tickets were booked already the last time.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. We did that. Michael, everybody here is listening to us, and you have had a long journey into the esports industry. I believe you were there when everything started in Europe and in the US, and you had a long journey into that industry that everybody is now talking about and would like to maybe be part of. And the last time we spoke, you mentioned that you are actually building a global league.
Yes, we are doing that right now. We started. I wasn't there, to be honest, from the very beginning of the esports industry. I joined a couple of years ago for 5 years. And before that, I was heading a company called Esports.com, which we sold to the biggest media house in Europe, Pro7 And I think they're doing a great job right now, building a media company at the end of the day. And last year, we started with our partners in Asia. I have two co-founders, a new project, which is called Esports Players League. And we are building national esports leagues. We thought and still think this is something what was missing to get it organized and structured. And since everyone is joining now the esports industry, basically all the kids start to play. You have technology all the way. So it needs a little bit of structure. So we developed a concept that we find a country partner always, and in the given country, we start a league under the brand ESPL, and now we are rolling out in 10 countries. We are live already, and the league starts in 1 month from now.
Oh, that's great news.
It is good news, but my big question is kind of the elephant in the room. What's going on in the world with regards to the pandemic? Has that really helped, I guess, direct attention to things like esports, or has it hindered it? Because I know a lot of esports tournaments also have, stadiums and lots of fans in close proximity.
Yeah, so what happens online, it gave an additional boost for sure, right? But overall, I think no one in the industry thought that we need COVID to rise up. And overall, I think it's just speeding up things, right? So you see it in every other industry, right? Like shared services, video calls. It's just speeding up the technology being used. And I think it's in esports the same. We were expecting the boost in esports coming in the next 2-3 years anyway. And now it's faster. And I think the main reason why we can grow up that fast is, at the end of the day, technology. The problem for many countries were that they simply didn't have connection, that they didn't have the smartphones or consoles or PCs to do so. And suddenly 4G, 5G being rolled out, this is the real enabler, right? So esports is having good times for sure, but I would say we would have these times anyway.
So, Michael, you're building leagues in nations and also across nations. So, for us here in the region, we are also looking to organize the ecosystem space and be able to offer this growth that is happening in esports also in our region, a more structured and also beneficial environment. what are for you as an expert in this field the best practices in order to move forward with this?
So you see in the last couple of years that the main part of the industry was put offline, basically, right? You saw that many companies or many investors were looking for opportunities to build that online. Esports stadiums were built, and big, we call it the blink blink shows, and teams per se within physical presence, so gaming houses and all of that. And this is what we call what was put online, and this is where the music of the industry was pushed to. And this is basically a copy paste of the traditional sports industry. So when you see how the traditional sports industry, football, for example, is organized, so the direction of esports was to drag esports in the very same direction, to have sponsorships, to fight for media rights, to develop big stadiums. And we think that per se it's not the way esports should be handled, because it's very much an online industry. It's global, and it of course has advantages if you use the online component right. What we are doing is we are staying completely outside of the offline part of it and focus only on the online part of it. We will have one final for sure with our partners, but 99% of our business is online. We are focusing on digital infrastructure, and I think this is something what the industry needs, because when you look at a young gamer, he is able to do everything from his home, and mostly with his smartphone. He can watch, he can play, he can participate, he can engage, and he doesn't need anything for that. And from the perspective of a brand or of a media company or a publisher, you can still engage with him. You don't need to have him physically, right? So this is the business model we were developing. There is a tech behind that. Behind it, of course, we can scale out globally. And our key to success, we hope so, is to have big and successful local companies who are able to work with the community, who has a presence, who has the what we call digital traffic. So that means they have the customers on one or the other platform already and start to engage. And I think when this is developed, you generate completely new value propositions for all the market participants. And I think that focusing on physical presence and offering the brands, for example, only a sponsorship on the jersey or in the back, it's not how the future will look like. We are very much since Facebook and all the companies came and put the social media marketing, the level into a completely new dimension. I think we need to learn from that and bring it again into the next level. And this is how we are scaling it up. So if you're very much online, you can scale out fast, of course. And if you then have local partners and combine that, then I think this is the right recipe.
Well, so then I was going to ask, you mentioned kind of Facebook. I was going to say a lot of traditional esport leagues, they rely on platforms such as Twitch, such as YouTube Live, and now obviously we have Facebook Gaming. How do you choose a partner to work with, or is it best to just create your own streaming system?
So basically, our best partner is someone who did organize esports tournaments already, right? Who has a brand, who has a community, and so on. But not only that. For example, in India, we are working with Paytm. It's a huge company over there, $17 billion in valuation. Alibaba, SoftBank, Warren Buffett backed. And when we were choosing our partner in India, and we spoke to a couple of them, we saw that they are the perfect fit because they are a fintech, right, with 500 million customers, and they were developing inside their company games division. So everyone who was interested in games, so buying games and items and virtual items and all of that, they were focused on in their first games part, Paytm first games, and with a customer base of 45 million in the Paytm first games part, we saw immediately we have a good chance to convert a big piece of it into esports. So we basically came through the back door, but the result is the same. Paytm, our partner, is very, very focused. They see esports as a future. They liked our business model, the way how we think about esports, and we agreed to combine all of that. So this is one partner we are working with it. There are potential partners we are discussing right now coming from the media tech industry. Telco is also a very, very good partner potentially, and we signed a telco deal already. So you see that we are focusing on everyone who has basically the customer base and is being digital.
Well, I was going to say, if I can ask a follow-up, I guess with traditional sports and traditional leagues, it is very hard for a rival company to come in and establish themselves. You look at kind of football as an example you used earlier. Is the fear not in building an online company that there's actually no barrier for someone else to just build another league and to, I guess, challenge yours?
Yeah, I think so. But when Facebook started, right, the chance that someone else is coming, it was the same. And but what we see overall, that esports is huge, right? It doesn't have limits, and even though we become in 5 years number 4 globally, and we are still having a big company because the industry is huge. It might happen. It's not our plan, but it might happen that it will be divided by games, right? And this is a little bit happening right now. That couple of games are focusing on this company. A couple of games are, when you look at Face It, for example, they focus on a couple of games. So this might happen, and overall, someone will win the game. And I think that at the end of the day, like in every other big industry, it will be happening that a big guy will come and buy it all together, buy the 2-3 big assets and lead it to one final result. And my estimation would be that one of the digital giants will be that, like someone like Amazon, Facebook mentioned, but it can be also Alibaba. And I think we all know that in the esports industry, the biggest company by far is Tencent today.
Tencent, true. And being challenged by ByteDance now, correct?
Sorry?
Or no? And being challenged today by ByteDance.
I don't know if we
owners
can
of
call it.
TikTok?
I don't know. If we can call it challenge. I think that they are really, really complementary for us. They are ByteDance is really complementary, and I think there will be space for many companies. Also Twitch, right? We were asked if we are competing with Twitch. Not at all. Twitch is perfectly complementary for us. They have good traffic. They do a good job. I know a couple of the Twitch guys. They have a clear strategy how to develop, and so for myself, I don't see really a competition between those two companies, but I think that TikTok is a good example of what I was telling, that we bring sponsorships and advertising into the next level, right? It won't be on TikTok that you have the sponsorships I was talking to. The brands will be integrated into esports in a completely different way, and TikTok is a great example how this can work.
So to follow up also on something you've mentioned before, you mentioned the future of esports will not look the same. I'm very curious to know, how do you see this vision of the future of esports? I know that you are one of the persons that is building it, but for us and also everybody watching us today, it would be great to see what will be the future of esports.
Of course. So I think that we are on the verge going into esports 2.0, right? And by that, I mean, the esports industry developed so far, it was very, very much PC based, right? PC and games all around. So CSGO, Dota 2, League of Legends, and everything. And these games had a couple of specifics. For example, in Dota 2, you really need to spend a lot of time to understand this game. I still can't until today. And right now, what's happening? Mobile esports is on the rise. We very much believe in mobile esports, and the reason is also that it's really, really easy. It's really there are no hurdles anymore, right? For example, if you're in Indonesia, right, and you like to play battle royale mode. So 5 years ago, you just needed to find a way how to buy a console or a PC and how to get connection. It was so many hurdles to get into that. Today, everyone has a smartphone almost for free. You know that in India, for example, you have the cheapest data connection globally, $2 a month, 10 gigabyte per day free. And these things are opening the door to mobile esports, because everyone can play. And looking at the 10, 16, 18 years old, they don't care if they have a big screen and a joystick, or if they're playing on the smartphone. For them, it's just simply natural. That's why I'm saying we are on the verge to esports 2.0, and many things will move into the smartphone. And then something will happening what we call the third space, right? You have a first space. This is your family. This is your sleeping and basically how you live. The second space is your work, where you spend time. And the third space is your free time, your leisure time, and all of that. And we expect for the future this will be happening in the digital esports area. And in the future, you won't use esports just to compete, right? You will be technically living in this space, and you will organize a lot of things via this space. And that's why we are pushing into digital infrastructure. We are working already on concepts how you can shop inside a game by playing tournaments, right? You don't need to move to another platform, or you don't need to go physically shopping. You will doing that by playing. Basically, you don't even recognize, but you do shopping, and suddenly something arrives. Or what we expect for the future, and AI and all of these things are very important for that. In the moment you need to order a taxi or an Uber, the technology will know that, and it will offer you the solution. You don't need to think, okay, I need an Uber right now, let's find. Your behavior will lead to and be recognized in this industry that now it's the time to offer you an Uber ride. And I could continue and continue. And that's why I'm so optimistic on esports, because a lot of industry will shift there. It's not only about getting brand awareness in the future, it's already call to action. And I think this is something incredible in this industry. And being online, being basically recognized by the platform who is playing, who is there, getting the right offer in the right moment, including call to action. This is a big game changer, and I think this is the when you ask for the vision, how I see that.
I was going to say, kind of one last question from me, at least, is there's a lot of kind of big ideas you were talking about there, and you kind of stopped yourself because, again, the sky's the limit. Is there anything going forward into Esports 2.0 that you could take from traditional sports leagues? Is there anything that you still think that they do better than you guys, or is it now they're done with, they're out the water?
So I to be honest, I have huge respect for football, especially, right? Football is a big show, right? And looking, for example, at teams like Manchester City or the holding behind it, it's a media powerhouse, right? And I think when you're asking for something, what we can learn from them is technically football is already a side business. This is a big media house, extremely professional, extremely set up. And they are creating shows, they are creating social media content really on scale and spreading it out globally. So I think this is really outstanding, and they are also moving into esports. So I wouldn't say everything is bad in traditional sports. Not at all. The show is outstanding, but what I think it's not so good in traditional sports is the value proposition for media and sponsors and all of that, right? You are sometimes missing ROI. You cannot measure it. You don't really have a call to action. So when you have, I don't know, Samsung here on the shirt, 10 years ago, it was the perfect way to get global presence. But in 5 years, it won't work anymore, right? And I think this is also based on that we are in the online space, and we have better opportunities to work around that. So I'm not underestimating the traditional sports industry, but I think the mindset of sponsors and medias will change. And coming back to the very first question, what happens during COVID and when everything stopped? So the sponsors were asking, okay, do we need to continue with our contracts? Can we save money here? Does that still make sense? And all of that. And I think these questions will continue, and the budgets will be rediscussed. And I'm very optimistic for the esports future, that they will be directed over there.
I will maybe ask a last question before we close, Michael, and I will get you back to our part of the world here. And I wanted to ask you, if you were giving the opportunity to do what you're doing today in Singapore and India and other countries as well as part of your league, first of all, would you embrace this opportunity? And second, what do you think you would need in order to start doing it? Who do you need? Who are your partners? How can they develop? And is this something that is part of your projects in the near future to expand into the MENA region, esports industry, and in general, the gaming industry in our region?
Yes, for sure. So overall, what we need always is capital. I think we are right now. We've been developing 3-4 years really strong teams, and we started to set up an own AI team to develop things I was talking about. we need, in order to do what I said and to scale it out, we need to do investments into startups. It's not that we can develop everything by our own, but we see a couple of projects here and there that they have good ideas, they have the good directions to do so, are working on good algorithms and stuff like that. And we need to invest into these companies and support them to scale it out. So capital is always one thing, and capital is basically speeding up our internal process. So if we have 5 million to spend, so we will take, for example, 5 years. If we have 100 million to spend, then we will take 2 years. And I think that it will be a speed race right now. It's not only who has the money will win. This won't work, because you need really to have deep knowledge about the industry and have good people. So it is not only about the money, but it is. And what we need to scale out in your region, we need to find a good partner who shares our vision, who wants to scale what we do globally, who has, like I said, potentially digital traffic, or did already a couple of things in the esports industry, did some tournaments, did some online tournaments, maybe also on plain vanilla platforms. And if we find someone like that, and they have same goals like we have, to become number one in a national league. So telcos, it could be telcos, it could be media tech, it could be really something from the tech industry. Then we are happy to speak about it, to share the vision, to look inside our business model, how we could do it. And if there is a good fit, then we can roll it out.
Perfect.
That's great, perfect. And I'm sure that our participants at DGC Live and also our viewers have listened to you today, and they will be able to meet you on the B2B meeting platform. You are part of this.
Yes.
Schedule a meeting with you, and schedule a Zoom call as well, and be able to discuss more opportunities for you in the region here. It's really great to learn about all of this and how the future of esports is coming up, and I believe bringing it back to its original sphere, which is the online, and to the people that are visionaries in it, and not only looking for a quick opportunity from it. And I think also, this also gives more to the teams themselves. They're not anymore just brands using them or trying to, but really going back to the core business and the core identity of esports.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery, I think, in esports, and I think you've done fantastically in helping us clear some of that up.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And we hope to see you soon in Dubai, as it was planned. And thank you very much for your great insight today.